When someone said exactly the right words to you at exactly the right time. The title is Billy the Kid and Black Bart. It was an exciting, joyous, but bittersweet time for the family. My dad was terminally ill, but he was ambulatory and barely functioning at home under my mother's care. Although he was at times confused, he realized that Bob, his oldest grandson, would soon be Robert S. Dean, M.D. Dad and I talked for a while. I told him I would be flying to Chicago the next day to be with Bob for a celebratory dinner with his classmates and their families. The graduation ceremonies were to be held in Chicago at Orchestra Hall the following morning. He told me to give Billy the Kid a big hug and congratulations from Black Bart. Shortly thereafter, I left Sparta, drove to Carbondale, and went to work. Dad had several severe coughing episodes that evening. When Dad started to cough, Mother called my brother, who was at home in Kansas City, Missouri. Stuart told her to call the doctor. She did. And Dad was admitted to Sparta's Community Hospital Hospice Unit, and no one called me. I was awakened at about 5 a.m. by excited birds right outside my window. My suitcase was neatly packed. All I needed to do was shower and drive to Sparta, then to St. Louis for a short flight to Chicago. I was surprised to find my sister-in-law with my nephew and niece having breakfast in my folks' kitchen. Mother and Stuart were at the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, I went straight to Dad's room. He was conscious, had oxygen tongs in his nose to ease his labored breathing. His hands and feet were very cold. I kissed his forehead and he squeezed my hand. I talked to his nurses, and the news was not encouraging. But Dad seemed to be comfortable and resigned. I returned to Dad's room. I asked Mother and Stuart to follow me into the hall. Mother told Stuart I was planning to go to Chicago, but did not tell him why. They decided that I should stay in Sparta and take care of my dad. I appealed to my brother, but he was standing firmly behind Mother, who wanted to take Dad home. I considered staying in Sparta, but decided to clearly define the situation for them. Mother paced back and forth, and she was not listening. Finally, I told them that Dad was exactly where he should be. He was comfortable, well cared for, and loved by all. He could not go home. All the facts finally sunk into my brother's brain. Mother was still angry when we went into Dad's room. She told me that I should stay home where I belong. Dad pulled the tongs from his nose and whispered as loud as he could, "You go, you should go. See Billy the Kid." The reference to Billy the Kid and Black Bart came from a dramatized story acted out by Bob, Billy the Kid, Dad, Black Bart, and Charlie, Dad's friend, the sheriff. They were always looking for a lost treasure, which was a mesh bag filled with chocolate discs covered with gold foil. I went to Chicago and arrived just in time for the celebratory dinner. The morning graduation ceremony was similar to most others that I've been to, except the graduates were announced by their full names, followed by MD. Dad died the same morning. It was Bob's graduation day.